What's going on, Seattle Seahawks fans? It's your boy JP Football Fanatics back with you once again with another record prediction video here. The last one for the entire NFL that I have yet to do, and that is for the Seattle Seahawks for the 2023-24 NFL season. So, with that being said, where do you guys think the Seahawks are going to be? Do you think they're going to be above 500? Do you think they're below 500? Do you think they're right around where they were a year ago? Do you think they make the playoffs? Do you think they missed the playoffs? Let me know in the comments down below. Before we get started, please be sure to drop a like on this video if you have not done so already. Also, be sure to also hit the notification bell and also to hit the subscribe button that's right below the YouTube channel name as well. Because anytime that I post new content on this channel, you guys will be the first ones to be notified on each and every single time that I post new content on here, whether if it's pre-recorded or live or vice versa. You guys will be the first ones to know about it. So like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Let's get started with analyzing this year's schedule for the Seattle Seahawks. So the thing about the Seattle Seahawks this year is I believe, besides the 49ers, can actually try to win the NFC West. That might be a hot take for some people. Some people think I'm going crazy about it, but I'm really not. I really legitimately believe the Seahawks have a chance to win the NFC West this year to dethrone the 49ers. I really truly do believe that could be a thing that could potentially happen. Do I think it will happen? Eh, it's tough. It's really tough to decide because you have to look at the schedule, you have to look at the teams that they play, and you got to look at the matchups. So let's start off with week one. Week one, you play the LA Rams. I have you guys splitting with the Rams this year. I think you guys are going to beat them at home. Like you usually do start off strong. So I think you guys are going to beat them at home in Seattle because of that fan base. However, I believe you're also going to lose to them at some point later on in the season in week 11 because that's normally what you do from time to time. You normally do lose in later parts of the year where you should win some of these games. And that sort of did happen last year in a couple of games that you were favored to win that you should have won, but you lost. So that could definitely be one of those games. And also, it's a division rival, too. So that also plays a big pivotal part in this. So I have you guys splitting with the Rams this year. Week two, you play the Detroit Lions. This is a tough matchup here. I'm not going to lie. Very tough matchup here. Detroit is going to be a better team. They're going to be pushing for a playoff run and possibly even win the NFC North division title. I believe the Lions are going to beat you guys in Detroit. I think the Lions have a lot of really nice things to their team. Their offense is very good. The run game is actually probably going to be better this year under a new running back in Jamar Gibbs. And you have a pretty nice, solid offensive line that's going to be very difficult for, your pass rush to get to. And I also believe that Jared Goff is also on the rise too. He's getting better each and every year. So with this team especially. So I think that plays a big part in it too. So I have you guys losing to the Lions in week two. Week three, you play the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young, at least, that should be starting this season. He'll probably even be starting even in week one as well. I have you guys beating the Panthers. I think the Panthers are a good team. I think they're going to compete with a lot of teams this year. But at the same time, I think it's still very early for the Panthers to really win some of these big games. Seattle, obviously, for rookie quarterback, is going to experience that. Seattle is not an easy place to play. So that's going to play a big part in it. And as far as that goes, I think Pete Carroll is going to come up with a really, really good game plan to make sure that he doesn't lose to the same team 2 years in a row. So I think their team is overall right now could be better, maybe about the same as the Panthers. But I also think coaching does matter here too. So I think, and quarterback play as well. So I think the Seahawks, I think you guys win this one in week three. Week four, you play the Giants on Monday Night Football in New Jersey. I have you guys losing to the Giants in what could be an upset this year. Last year, you absolutely positively dominated last year in terms of when you were playing with the Giants at home. You guys absolutely dominated in every which way possible. So I can see you guys putting up somewhat of a fight, but it's going to be very hard for you to beat this team 2 years in a row. And if you have to travel across the country, because that's not always an easy thing to do, especially if you are a team that plays in the West. So I think the Giants can actually find a way to beat you guys on prime time here on Monday Night Football. I think they can come up with the upset. But also, it could be a swing game too. I could see the Seahawks winning this game as well. So right now, you're starting off your season 2-2. You go into an early bye in week 5. Then you come on week 6 and you play the Cincinnati Bengals. This could be potentially a team that you could beat this year. I think the Bengals are absolutely one of the best teams in the NFL, but I think they're primed to losing a couple games this year. I think the Seahawks is one of them. So I'm going to go with the upset. I think the Seahawks could beat you guys. I think you guys could beat the Bengals on the road. I think the Bengals are a good team. Don't get me wrong. I think they're one of the best teams, but I think your coaching staff and experience that you guys have come up with, Geno Smith, who last year played at a Pro Bowl level. I think you guys have every opportunity to be able to do that. So I think you guys are going to beat the Bengals in that respect. I think you guys match up pretty well with them, especially offensively too. So I think if anything, you could probably win on offense. Week 7, you play the Arizona Cardinals. I think you guys are going to beat the Cardinals. I think you guys are going to sweep the Cardinals this year because the Cardinals are just not a very good team. So I don't really need to get too much into that one. I think we all kind of know how we feel about, how most people feel, including myself, feel about the Cardinals this year. I just don't think they're a very good team. Week 8, you play the Cleveland Browns. This could be a game where I could see the Browns actually beating you guys at home. I think the Browns are a team that's poised to have a pretty nice season this year, I feel like. But I think I'm going to go with the Browns. I feel like the Browns' run game is going to be very hard for you to be able to beat. And if anything, as far as the Browns go, if you can't stop the run against Nick Chubb, you're not going to win this game. If you can't stop Deshaun Watson in this passing attack that he has, you're not going to win. So I think you're going to struggle with the Browns at home. So I think you're going to lose at least 1 or 2 games at home this year. I think the Browns is one of them that you might lose to. Week 9, you play the Ravens. The Ravens are one of the best teams in the NFL this year and in the AFC. So I think you guys are going to lose to the Ravens. I don't think you have enough juice in you to be able to, slow down Lamar Jackson, and especially if he has to scramble outside of the pocket to make plays. I don't think you're going to be able to stop them very well. So I have you guys losing to the Ravens in week 9 because of that. And the passing attack could be a lot better this year too, much, much better. Odell Beckham Jr., Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, a nice solid offensive line. J.K. Dobbins as the running back, Lamar Jackson. This isn't going to be an easy offense to stop. I think if you're going to play defense on this team this year, a lot of teams are definitely going to prepare for them. And I don't think your defense is just there yet to be able to compete with the Ravens. So I have you guys losing that one. Week 10, you play the Washington Commanders. It's a team that you should be able to win up against. I could see the Commanders finding a way to upset you at home. So this could be one of those games where they could beat you at home. But I don't see it happening personally. You should be able to beat them. Again, like I've been saying for, the last couple of videos now, the Commanders are a team that's, good on paper. They have all the wide receivers. They have a solid offensive line. They have a good run game. Their biggest thing, and they have a good defense too. Their biggest thing that keeps them back from winning a lot of games is the quarterback play. So Jacoby Brissett, Sam Howell, we don't know what Sam Howell is going to be. We already kind of know what Jacoby Brissett is, and he's a solid backup quarterback. I don't think he's going to be a starter early in the season. I think they're going to give the command to Sam Howell, which is going to be very challenging for him to play, especially in Seattle. So we'll see how that goes, but I think the Seahawks win that one. We talked about week 11, and you guys play the Rams. The Rams are going to beat you guys. Week 12, you play the 49ers. You play them on Thanksgiving. I have you guys splitting with the 49ers this year. I think you beat them on Thanksgiving. I really do think you match up very well with them on Thanksgiving, and especially if you play this game at home, I think you play them very, very well. So I think you guys win that one at home, but then you lose to them in week 14, 2 weeks later, and you split with the 49ers for the entire year. The 49ers are going to be competing with you in the NFC this year. Or the NFC West, of course. So I think you guys matched up pretty well with them last year, especially at home. I thought you played them really, really well and tough. I think offensively you can get to them a little bit. You probably maybe not have that much success running, but I think you can pass on this 49ers defense as well. The pass rush is solid, obviously, especially if Nick Bosa is in the mix, but you can pass on them. And I think their corners may not be able to. It might be a slight mix match between the 49ers secondary versus the Seattle Seahawks wide receivers. So that could be a big mismatch there. But other than that, I think both games will be really, really fun to watch. Week 13, you play the Dallas Cowboys. This is a Thursday night, regular Thursday night football game at the end of November. The Cowboys are poised for a very nice season this year. I have you guys losing to the Cowboys this year. Their defense is just absolutely ridiculous right now. This pass rush is solid, so solid that it's going to be so hard to stop. They have really good corners who could potentially match up well with your wide receivers. Now, could I see the Seahawks upsetting the Cowboys? Absolutely. I definitely could see that being the case, but I don't know if that's going to be the case, in this kind of situation. So I think the Cowboys are going to beat you guys, especially if you're on the road. Week 15, you play the Eagles. Now, you've had a lot of success against the Eagles every single year, at least for as long as I've been watching, football. You've always, always, always found ways to play the Eagles tough, and you've always found ways to beat them significantly well. Probably one of the only teams in recent memory that I feel like you guys always seemingly find ways to be able to beat. I think the Eagles are going to beat you at home. I really do think they're going to beat you at home. I would not be surprised if Geno Smith and the Seahawks beat the Eagles. I would not be shocked about that whatsoever. I honestly would love to see that kind of upset. I would love to see Pete Carroll jumping up and down with, chewing his gum and running up and down the sidelines, celebrating with his players for beating a Super Bowl runner-up from last year. I would not be surprised if the Seahawks beat the Eagles. For whatever reason, they always, always, always find ways to beat them every single year, and they always beat them very well. Like it's not always very close. Even if the score indicates that it's closer than it looks, the overall game itself, it's never close. So right now I have the Eagles winning, but I think you could definitely beat the Eagles at home. I think you always have that opportunity to be able to do so. Week 16, you play the Titans. I have you guys beating the Titans this year. The Titans are going to keep themselves competitive. They're going to be able to play very well when it really does matter most. But, the Seahawks, Geno Smith, Pete Carroll, they're going to have a game plan going. They're going to find ways to be able to beat them. So I think you guys can win that one. Week 17, you play the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. I have you guys beating the Steelers at home. The Steelers will be a tough team. They'll definitely fight in any which way they can. And their defense will keep themselves in the game, but it's not going to be an easy game by any means whatsoever. The defensive line is solid, absolutely positively solid, and they can take advantage of your offensive line. Like they really can get a pass rush going on the offense. But if you have a loud environment like Seattle, that's not an easy place to play. You could potentially find ways to win, but you could also lose too. So I have you guys actually beating the Steelers, but I wouldn't be too surprised if you did lose to them at home. Then in week 18, we already talked about it. The Cardinals, you're going to sweep the Cardinals this year. They're one of the worst teams in the NFL this year. So right now, you're probably right around 9-8 right now. I could see you guys actually winning at least one of these games, like right here. For example, like, do I think they're going to lose 3 straight games? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Like I said, like the Eagles game, could definitely see that game going either way. I could see the Seahawks winning that game easily. So you could be 10-7, honestly. Maybe that could be enough to be able to win the division. Maybe, maybe not. It depends on how the 49ers do early in the season. It really does depend as far as how they do early in the season and if their quarterback play is going to allow them to be able to compete and play very well. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about my prediction for the Seahawks. It's your boy, JP Football Fanatics, saying thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all next time. Peace.